Hello YouTube, my name is Schwa. I'd like to make a video for all of you gun nuts and concealed carry permit holders out there who might be interested in getting a concealed handgun permit for the Republic of Washington DC, or as we call it, the District of Columbia or the Swamp. There are a couple things you need to know, and there are many restrictions on this concealed handgun permit, so I'm going to go through a few of them. I'd like to preface this with I am not a lawyer. Please do not take my word as law. Do your own research or better pay an attorney who knows what they're talking about. So with that said, let's dive right in. You will need to get a concealed handgun. You'll need to have already a concealed handgun as a prerequisite for applying to the District of Columbia's handgun permit process. So basically it could be Virginia or Utah or wherever. You just need to have concealed handgun permit already. You'll need to basically take another concealed handgun course, so you'll need to find someone who's certified in teaching that. And Metropolitan PD wants 16 hours in the course and also 2 hours on the range. And your instructor will have to sign your application form, so that way Metropolitan PD will basically say, okay, you can now apply. You have those prerequisites, and then you'll have to register also a firearm. The thing with the District of Columbia is they only allow you to have a maximum of 20 bullets. So you cannot have high capacity magazines either. So it's basically get any firearm out there that has a 10-round magazine or less. I have a Glock 26. I have one right here, actually to my side. It is unloaded. There is no magazine inside. And always check to see if there is a bullet inside. There is nothing in there. So getting back to it, there are two forms. One is 3 pages. It is going to be the concealed carry pistol license application through the Metropolitan Police Department. So it's going to ask for the usual information, and this is the part where they get your address and your name, and if you're in occupation, your home phone number, date of birth. They ask you 20 different questions regarding essentially, are you a resident of the District of Columbia? Are you not? Do you have a mental illness? Have you had a felony? All that kind of stuff. And then they go through 6 firearm training background questions. So the second form you'll have to do is the firearm registration. So this is a forced registry. I know many of you out there have issues with registering your firearms, and you are perfectly reasonable in that. It's basically the government will know where you live and what kind of firearms you have. So it's completely up to your discretion. You don't have to get a concealed handgun permit for Washington, D.C. if you don't want to. But if you do, you will be forced into a registry. Now, your first firearm with the application is going to be free. Any firearm after that is $13. I also wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the cost, because it's not just the $75 that the application says it's going to be. On top of the $75, you're going to pay $35 for fingerprint registration. And if you have an extra firearm, it's going to be $13 extra per firearm. So I bought 2 forms. My first one was free. My second one was $13. So I ended up paying a total of $123. You probably won't be able to read all this, but basically it has maybe no focus. It's fine. The point is that you're going to pay, like I said, $35 for fingerprints, $13 for gun registration, and $75 for the concealed handgun permit. Now, if you do go there, parking is a pain in the ass. It's DC. It's a city. The only parking I found, but I didn't really look that hard, was for 1 hour is $24. So basically, add another $123 on top of my $24. So I paid $147 to get my firearms registered and to apply for a permit. Parking is a pain. There's a lot of spots, but they're all taken, and there's a bunch of people who just loiter outside the main building. I don't know, the address is, I don't have, oh yeah, it's 300 Indiana Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C., zip code 20001. So when you go in, you will have to, there is security at the front, so you'll have to empty your pockets. You'll go to the second floor, if I recall, and then you'll go to the firearms registration, which is going to be on your right. You'll go in, go to the counters, ask them to ask them for help, and then what you will do is you will give them your application, and then what they're going to do is they're going to take that application and they're going to go to the back in their cubicles. They're going to input all that information, T-Rex it. They're not really fast. They're going to T-Rex into the keyboard all that info. It took about 15 minutes for them to call my name. Once they called my name, they handed me this carbon copy with 2 other slips. And then I had to go to the room across the hall, get my fingerprints registered. And then after I got my fingerprints registered, I had to go back across the hall and get my picture taken. And then after that, they basically say you're good to go. So, they have 90 days to do your background check, and they will issue it to you because, DC is now a shall issue, not a may issue. For those that don't know, in October of 2017, DC law changed, and so they have to issue the permit if you do not have like a horrible criminal history. It's just not another hassle. I'm not far from DC, and sometimes I have my gun on me, and sometimes I have to make an emergency stop there for X, Y, and Z reason. I don't want to have to worry about whether I can take my firearm or not, and it's just one less hassle. But there are a lot of restrictions where you can and can't carry. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but when I took my course and the way I read the law was there are certain roads you have to avoid. So think of like Independence Avenue, or you can't carry in a museum. You cannot carry on the metro, whether it's the bus or the rail. You can't carry within 1,000 feet of a foreign dignitary if he has law enforcement near him. And so you basically have to immediately leave the area. So there are restrictions and there is a pain. It is important to know the law, know your limits as to where you can go and where you cannot go. And more importantly, I wanted to do it because of the line of work I am in, the line of work that I am in, which is private security. So sometimes I'm going to need to have a firearm as a private citizen. When I'm on duty, it's a little more complicated. So DC law, for example, does not recognize anyone who is a bodyguard and or private security. They only allow basically people who have guns or special police like the Secret Service or actual special police that guard like museums and other federal buildings. So I kind of just wanted to let you guys know what you're getting into when you apply for the concealed handgun course, and also the permit. And so I was gonna say aside from the $110, for all those three things, the fingerprints, the license, and the registration of your firearm, you have to take a course which is going to cost you about $250 or so to get all that training and whatnot regarding the Metropolitan PD's standards by which they will sign off on your concealed handgun permit. So it's basically going to be almost $360, close to $400 investment, depending on how much your course is. And so if it means that much to you, and here's the other kicker: it only lasts 2 years. So every 2 years you're going to have to renew your permit, but your firearms registration lasts 3 years. I don't understand it. I don't make the rules. I don't know why my firearms registration lasts longer than my permit. It's kind of ridiculous since I don't even live in DC. But that's just everything that I can think of. I'm going to list the links for the applications and basically have fun. Good luck to you out there, YouTube. Get your permits if you can, while you can. DC law is subject to change, and there are a lot of cool, interesting things about the law regarding standing your ground. For example, you don't have a duty to retreat. You don't have to retreat. For example, in some states you have to have preclusion, which is you have to avoid the situation at all costs. There is no duty for you to actually retreat, so you are allowed to basically hold your ground if someone is threatening your life. But get ready to have a very, very expensive lawsuit on your hands if you do have to use your gun. So good luck to you all, and hope you guys have a great day and or evening wherever you're at. God bless America, and get your permits on. Take care.